Well, hello there, and you join us here today to talk about 10 new watches that have been released, and some of them are incredible, and some of them are, well, you'll see.
Join me in person, live, for our Watchfinder YouTube US tour. I'm visiting Boston, New York and Philadelphia to present a live show about some of the things I've learnt about watches and the journey I've had along the way. If you want to come, you can RSVP in the links in the description below. I look forward to seeing you all there.
Tom, it's been a hot week of watches. We've had Geneva Watch Week. We've had bored watchmakers making watches for no particular reason. We've got everything. Let's jump straight into it and see what people have been up to.
Okay, so first of all, it's the return of the Mac Daddy of bioceramic. It is the Moonswatch Mission to Moonshine Gold. This time it's blue. So they've given the Neptune Blue version of the Omega Time Swatch Moonswatch the Moonshine Gold treatment and given it a Moonshine Gold second hand. Which is quite fetching against the Neptune Blue. The golden blue there, quite contrasty, quite popping, very attractive if you ignore the price, the shoddy build, the queuing times that you will require in order to purchase one. It will be available to buy in 86 cities, so that's all of them. So well done, Swatch, for getting that together. I'm not sure if there's been any further improvement on the blue coloration of the bioceramic, whether it will transfer itself to your skin or not. That was an issue with the first editions. But yeah, there you go. More Moonswatch goodness for you.
I hate to say, I do like the look of it. I sincerely hope the whole marking its territory situation has been resolved. From one to another, This is the Tissot PRX, and everyone loves it, except now they've made it digital. And by digital, I mean they've put a big blank spacer on the dial, and somewhere in the middle of it is a digital display. There are 3 buttons surrounding it with which to control it. Obviously, powered by quartz, so is priced at the same price as the quartz at £310. I'm getting very distinct free watch with your Happy Meal vibes with the very tiny digital display there. Rectangle peg in a much larger round hole is the feeling I'm getting. I can't make anything of this. What do you think of it, Tom?
I feel like it's a little bit at odds with itself because you've got the very nicely designed integrated case, and then you've got what looks almost like stock digital display and stock pushers that have just come straight off the rail. And I don't feel like there's a coherency in this watch. It's very strange. It would be fine if it was a fraction of the price of the other PRX models, but it's almost the same as the other quartz analog version, which is much nicer. So a little bit of a ball scratcher here, but I guess people will buy it.
Yeah, maybe they think they're competing with Casio and misread the price of £31 as £310 and thought they were in the ballpark.
Could be, yeah. Next, we've got a new Aquis from Oris. This is the Oris Aquis Pro, 4,000 meters. So this is a serious dive watch from them. The 4,000 meter depth rating comes with certain size increases in the case and form of this watch. So it is extremely chunky, but it's pretty cool looking. I quite like it. There's lots of layers. The bezel has got this sort of rubber casing around the outside, and that's a new patented bezel locking system which you can turn and then lock and unlock the bezel. It's got a massive boxy crystal that is hugely elevated above the bezel, which I actually really like. It's 49.5 millimeters in titanium, and it's $6,200. So a serious watch for serious people. Casual people need not apply.
It does contain the Oris Caliber 400 with a 5-day power reserve, so that 5 days isn't necessarily the time it would take to sink to the bottom of the ocean floor. You also get the nice wave motif there, a little borrow there from the archives of Omega Seamaster. Altogether, nice colour combinations. I know what you mean about the thickness. It would make an excellent paperweight. If only they'd filled the cavity behind the crystal with some liquid and maybe some little glitter bits that you could shake up and watch float around. Then it would be perfect. Next up, Tom, is the Doxa Beta Shark Hunter. This is a very traditional dive watch from Doxa. One of the earliest in the whole dive watch scene was worn, or a variant of it, by Jacques Cousteau. But here is in a very, very fetching 42.5mm matte black ceramic. We've seen stealthy watches before, but this one also comes with details in 18 karat rose gold like the crown, bezel, edge and markers. You get 300 meters of water resistance. Does have a Sellita SW200 inside. Not the best movement, but reliable and easy and cheap to service. $6,950 is quite steep, but you do look like quite the baller wearing it. So I've heard.
Stealth wealth. Stealthy black and shiny gold. Really cool. Next, let's play a little game. The game is, what have Grand Seiko seen out the window this time and made into a watch dial? First, we've got this Grand Seiko GMT anniversary. And I think what's represented on the dial is pretty obvious and very attractive. Do you want to hazard a guess at what that might be?
I'm just going to throw a wild card out there and say, is it the sea clouds? No. At daybreak.
Yes.
It looks very specifically like it's at the beginning of the day.
The light sky blue of morning. Yeah, and then big fluffy white clouds. Very, very nice. Limited to just 2,000 pieces, so bit of a change in pace for Grand Seiko there to make a watch. Limited edition, but beautiful nonetheless. $7,600. This anniversary limited edition is a boutique only, available in September. Next, you'll never get this one. My guess was Grand Seiko had seen some sort of blue crepe paper, but I think it's just clear skies, the clear blue skies of Mount Iwate. Again, beautiful, clean, fresh sky blue on the dial with a lovely sunray texture. Another GMT, no bezel this time. You've got the 24-hour markers inside the dial next to the beautifully polished battens there. This time limited to 1,700 pieces at $5,600.
I'm really getting the lenticular clouds with this particular sky over Mount Iwate. Very impressive.
Yeah. I don't know what was happening in the car park the day they looked out the window and were inspired to make this next series of watches, but they're inspired by the master craftsmanship, the master blacksmiths that would make katana samurai blades, the folding steel and the different techniques that go into that, the raw materials and the varieties here are inspired by the earth, fire, water and air of the nature-derived techniques that the blacksmiths would use to forge these samurais or something like that. Pretty cool, really, really cool additions. Again, boutique only and ranging from $5,000 to $6,000 in price. Really awesome selection from Grand Seiko.
Next, we move on to a selection of limited edition Audemars Piguet Royal Oaks and Royal Oak Offshores. These are the AP times Matthew Williams, who I believe has something to do with this collection of letters and numbers 1017 ALYX 9SM. I have no idea what any of that means. I believe it has something to do with fashion, something with which I'm not particularly well acquainted. I was slightly disappointed that the Alex portion had nothing to do with Half-Life, but I'm probably in the minority there. In any case, this is a selection of watches that I quite like. They have taken the Royal Oak and Royal Oak Offshore time-only and chronograph versions, stripped the dial of basically all the detail and applied a finish to it and coloration that is the same as the rest of the watch. So you get a sense of the entire thing being made of a single block of metal. There are some downsides to this. Time becomes particularly difficult to read, and the chronograph is virtually useless. The date window on some of the offshores also looks a little bit odd, and I can't say that I'm necessarily keen on the branding on the lower half, but I guess that's kind of the point. What really does raise my eyebrow, Tom, is the starting price at, yes, £63,200. Will you be buying 3?
Yes, I will take 3. It's actually really cool. I quite like it. It's more Royal Oak than Royal Oak. Almost looks like a sort of prototype of the Royal Oak. It just looks like sort of raw in its appearance. So quite interesting. Too expensive though.
It looks like its very own meta award for being the most Royal Oak ever, and it is that award for achieving that accomplishment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've designed the most Royal Oak ever. Here is your Royal Oak. Next, we're on to a Ulysse Nardin Blast. Named after the executive stubbed his toe on the desk, as we all know, and then the watchmaker just wrote it down without even asking any further questions. But this is the freewheel marquetry in 45mm white gold with the boxiest crystal ever around. You can see the case angles down there into the case back there, and you can see right through the side of the crystal there and see all the lovely goings on inside. And there are some goings on inside there. You've got some kind of constant force tourbillon in there, which is new for Ulysse Nardin, something they've developed. Very cool. The dial is a marquetry technique, which is typically a wood or pearl type affair, but here they've used silicone, so you get these nice sort of blocky blue patterns on the dial. Very complicated, but very refined and very clear. Very attractive watch, and all for the handsome sum of $137,200. So yeah,
it's a very cool concept. I very much like the upside down Petri dish crystal they've got going on there. It gives a sense of experimentation to what's going on, and I like how they have taken the different movement components and separated them out to give them space around them. Also very clever and very sneaky, over on the bottom right hand corner is a power reserve, which is indicated by different layers of circular metal, so you know how full or empty it is. But overall, the silicon is a nod to Ulysse Nardin being the first to have a silicon escapement, of which pretty much every other brand has copied since for its anti-magnetic properties. And you're not going to see a tourbillon constant force escapement like that in any other watch either. Speaking of things that are very different, the case may be vaguely reminiscent of the Nautilus's ears. Everything else is wild and wacky. This is the Corum Concept Tourbillon, 39.5mm in recycled titanium. What's really going on here is the caliber CO374, which is like that Ulysse Nardin, very front mounted. You get sapphire bridges and plates so you can see all the way through, and right at the back is an aventurine backplate, which is the sparkliest material known to man. Not a guarantee. The whole thing looks very space age and organic and futuristic. But really where the fun starts to happen, Tom, oh yes, and we're going to have some fun, is when you flip the watch over. Because not only can you see a beautifully decorated gear train, but a set of handy IKEA-like instructions peppered around the back in a lovely handwritten font there, giving you such tidbits as in-house flying tourbillon and 90 hours of power reserve and time setting. Pull the crown out and turn to set the time. In case you forget how to operate your 420,000 Swiss franc watch.
Wow, is this a start of a new trend that we're beginning to see here? The handwritten scrawlings on your watch. We saw it recently with the Summer Blue Omega Deep Sea, didn't we? If you shine a UV light on that, you get a bit of graffiti.
Yeah.
And here's a load of graffiti on the back of this Corum.
Some notes there from the design process that seem to have been misconstrued as actual design and made it through to the final watch.
Okay, moving on then to a new H. Moser Streamliner. This is the Pandemonium, and this is a collab between Moser and Maximilian Busser and friends. So two houses there that are known for crazy designs coming together for another crazy design. This is a watch with the LM101 balance display from MBMF and the Moser double balance spring inside. It's a minute repeater, and you can see it all going on inside there. And you might also be able to notice tiny little panda buddy, and he's sort of DJing the minute repeater there, which is freaking adorable and awesome. This is a one-off watch for the Only Watch auction, and the estimate price set is between 300 and 400,000 Swiss francs.
It combines so many great things of those two brands and really demonstrates why Ed and Max are at the forefront of the industry for design, because it just does so much that's interesting and unique without just being wacky and weird for weird's sake. It's so incredibly cohesive, and also a little bit of fun for the panda, and all for a really good cause too. Perhaps not quite such a good cause, but nonetheless very, very interesting. Tom, have you ever found yourself in a position where you've had a unique coach built Rolls Royce and you've thought to yourself, this isn't quite special enough? Yes, me too. And so has another gentleman who has had a coach built commission, the Rolls Royce Amethyst Droptail, a very elegant edition of the Rolls-Royce convertible in a very powdery purple. The watch itself is a piece unique, as you can imagine, by the Le Cabinotier team at Vacheron Constantin, and it's called the Armillary Tourbillon, which I have almost certainly pronounced incorrectly. It is a 43.8mm watch, designed to look like one of the dash timers of old that you might remember Hoyer used to make. Whilst it doesn't do dash timing, it does have a double axis tourbillon framed in that fishbowl crystal at 6 o'clock, where you can see all the juicy goings on inside. And you might think, well, how am I supposed to tell the time with that fella taking up all of that space? Well, Vacheron Constantin thought about that, as you can imagine they would. They put the hours and minutes as retrograde displays in the top half of the dial. And of course, the watch is purple, just like the car. A pretty special watch, Tom, for a pretty special car, and no doubt for a pretty special owner. All together in a package that you and I are very humbled to be able to see in pictures.
How much is it costing me to stare at these JPEGs? It's an amazing looking watch, really interesting looking watch, and purple. I mean, I really like it. I don't think it's for the mainstream, but if we can have more purple watches, then you might just keep me interested in watches for a bit longer.
Well, there you have it, dear viewer and listener. 10 new watches, some really cool, some less so. What do you think? What watches have you spotted recently that you think deserve a mention? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. And if you're looking for a watch to buy, sell or trade, check out watchfinder.com. Goodbye.